It's time to introduce you to frustum culling, one of the only reasons we could have massive open world games or 3D games in general. But to begin talking about it, we need to answer the question, what the fuck is a frustum? So a frustum is just a geometric shape. It's what happens when you take a cone or a pyramid and you slice off the top, and it's the portion that remains. 3D video games have something called the view frustum. Basically, if you take the camera position and then you trace lines out to where the corners of the screen would be, and I mean outward into the distance to everything you can see, you essentially create a pyramid. But since you aren't going to necessarily notice things right on the character's position, for example, you usually don't see your body or feet in a first-person shooter, there's a point that is close enough to you that cuts off, thus creating a frustum of the entire game world that you see at one point. Frustum culling, and yes, it is frustum. People often say frustrum, but apparently that's wrong. Honestly, I don't care. Anyway, frustum culling is when objects that lie outside of the view frustum aren't drawn, because to do so would be a huge waste of resources. You're not seeing them, so why spend the processing power drawing them? If you did draw them, then it would cause games to slow down and stutter. This is the claim people are making when they say Pokemon Scarlet and Violet draw the whole map at once. They're saying it draws the whole map at once, and that's why it's slowing down. Except it doesn't. It does use view frustum culling, just like every other modern game. Over here are two other forms of culling that can be used to save resources. Backface culling is what happens when you don't draw the parts of a model you don't see. So for example, if a mountain is facing you, it'll draw the part of the mountain that is facing you, but not the back of the mountain, because you're not going to see it unless the camera changes orientation. And occlusion culling is basically not drawing objects that are hidden behind other objects. Again, since you're not seeing that portion of the map or that model, it just doesn't draw it to save on resources. And those are some of the most common ways to conserve resources and improve performance in 3D games.